I think one of you mentioned that you think UMNO is it's inevitable that they're going to disintegrate, right? So what chance then do we have of opposition in becoming responsible?
At MIC today, I will call for a PR system. I will call for local elections because that's where they would stand a chance to survive. If you have a PR system, you're sure going to win some seats. Proportional representation system, you're sure going to win some seats. And in some state or some city, you have a chance to be government. So you have access to power and resources that keep your party members and talents in your party to stay on. Without that, of course, you'll be in trouble. And how do we eventually get opposition, responsible opposition? Two ways. Either that all the current opposition somehow, with the right incentive, move towards the center, or Pakatan Harapan loosen themselves out. They have competition to squeeze away votes from the frank parties. You always have to remember, people like to see fighting. So, and the trouble we have, I want to put this point to you, how dangerous it is of our old system. How did Barisan Nasional lose 2018? This is my theory. The problem starts with its landslide in 2004. In 2004, it won 91% of votes. It was so strong that no one can foresee the government would collapse. What happened? UMNO lost basically just 6 seats to pass in Semenanjung. They won everything. So it's no longer your median voter that count. If I'm someone in the party, it's all about my median party member, right? I want to appeal to my party member rather than the voters out there because the game is over. And so what you saw was Hishamuddin raising Keris for 3 years consecutively. Because it's about appealing. He was being merely rational, responding to the incentive. And what he did was indicative or symbolic of a larger thing. The idea that we are so strong we can do a lot of things. And the one who at the receiving end was actually the Indian underclass. That brought Hindraf to the picture. And because Hindraf protest was completely communal, yet was not cracked down bloodily, people realized the society had moved on, so you have the tsunami. Now what killed BN after that was peace. Because of the Chinese have been warned in the past with this perception that 1969 was caused by Chinese voters deserting the government. In effect, if you look at aggregate figure, it was more Malay votes, but the system did not show it. So the Chinese were stuck with that idea. After 2008, after the tsunami, when no riot happened, people realized and say May 13 is not coming back. So you saw the Chinese vote share keep on dropping. Now, this was an unintended consequence, right? I'm telling you all kind of things was merely one after another unintended consequences. Barisan Nasional was so strong, they won everything. The competition turned internally into UMNO, so the government became very, very arrogant, pushing the Malays on one side. The other side of UMNO infighting was, of course, Tun Dr. Mahathir, because he felt that he could bring down Abdullah without causing the party, and all these things caused tsunami in 2008, and the peace that endured after the tsunami emancipated the Chinese Malaysian voters. No longer, in larger sense, the non-Malays no longer worry about riots, so their votes move all the way to the opposition, and that actually an unintended consequence of that was to further deepen the Malay anxiety that NEP would be lost because the government would be toppled, and there was no solution to that. So the government moved further to the right. And then you have in 2014, 2015, Korting Pass and so on, successfully breaking down Pakatan Rakyat. it would have been able to save itself, but it would no longer be the centrist government at one point used to be, because the Chinese are not coming back. That was very clear cut. You probably need to punish them enough before they want to come back again, right? But what happened, of course, is another set of incidents was GST that rocked the Malay support, and then one MDB pushed Mahathir to the opposition camp, and with a Malay arch nationalist like Mahathir being the next prime minister, the Malay fear of losing everything with a regime change is gone, right? So you then have the Malay voters voting against UMNO, not necessary for Pakatan Harapan because a third of that votes went to PAS. But the idea is that they are no longer be fearful of regime change. So with the Chinese losing their fear in 2008, the Malay getting more fearful in 2013, but eventually overcoming that in 2018, you have end of Barisan Nasional. Now, but in that process was a lot of up and down, because the victory itself was destabilizing. That's the point I want to underscore. You have today in Selangor and Penang a ruling coalition with 93% of seats in the state assembly. Now, the seats are allocated on a near permanent basis, because the party cannot easily say, I want to change it, right? Especially if you want the seats. So the old system that Pakatan Harapan has inherited is like a bonsai. If the bonsai is still, the plant is still small, it will not break the vase. But if we push to the end, it's going to be destabilizing, right? So what we're going to see, and I wouldn't want this to happen, but if this is continued for at least one more elections, you're likely going to see either one. If the parties remain united, they will fight each other, because they cannot have more seats, right? So they will have to fight their ally. They will have to find reason to quarrel. If they are not united, they fight among themselves. So the faction will start wrapping up the safe seats. But in either way, we are not going to be able to do away competition. So my point, going back to where I started off, you can't do away competition as long as you have elections. But we need to make competitions work. And the current system is not designed to that. So what Prof talked about, the centralization program, is part of the larger picture.